I got a story that'll waggle your eyes. I got a burger and a thingy of fries. I think we discussed.
Did you know that adult obesity is a major problem with 500 million people across the world who are obese? One, such as this poor American, out of three is obese, with many, many problems, economic, personal, such as this. This is a problem. Adult obesity can be prevented with education. So, I'm going to educate you, starting from the very, very basics, macromolecules.
You want me to start?
Sure. That would be nice. There are four main types of macromolecules: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. All four of these macromolecules contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Nucleic acids and proteins also contain nitrogen, while nucleic acids also contain phosphorus. The macro in macromolecules means large, so macromolecules just refers to a large amount of molecules. The strands of molecules are polymers, while the single molecules that make up those are monomers. What your body does is it takes the polymers of the food you eat and breaks them down to use in your body. The polymers for carbohydrates are polysaccharides, which are complex carbs, and the simple carbs are the monomers, which are monosaccharides. Carbohydrates use fat for fast-acting energy. Lipids, on the other hand, take longer to break down the glycerol and fatty acids, so it is a long-time source of energy. Lipids, or fat, are necessary for things like cushioning your internal organs against trauma, forming the structure of cell membranes, and contributing to the synthesis of hormones. Just because it's called fat doesn't mean it's bad. Without it, you will die. So you have to eat it, just don't go overboard. Even though proteins can be used for energy, your body does not want to do that, so it usually sticks to carbs and lipids to provide energy. What our body would be happier doing is to get the polypeptides of protein broken down to amino acids, and then our body will put them to good use, transmitting signals between cells, constituting immune molecules, and helping to create the new proteins your tissues require, which are organs and many other tissues, such as muscles. Now, the things about nucleic acids is that these are not calories or sources of energy, unlike the other three, which would be considered macronutrients. Your cells contain two types of nucleic acids already: ribonucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid. When you eat DNA, though, you are not going to absorb it and turn into whatever you ate. It's not my fault. My dad ordered too much sushi. Your body breaks down nucleic acids to nucleotides, and your cells use them to help make our own nucleic acids. All this macromolecule talk seems like science mumbo jumbo, but in reality it's just a way to classify lots of average everyday things, such as these two, apple and potato, are carbohydrates. Apple would be a simple carbohydrate, while potato would be a complex carbohydrate. Moving on to lipids, butter is a good lipid. Lots of fats and oils, such as vegetable oil, these are all lipids. Proteins, nuts are a very great source of protein. Look at all these nuts. And then milk products in general are also a good source of protein. But you know what's even better source of protein? Well, lots of protein goes to tissues and stuff. So like muscle, like me, I'm made of muscle, you know what I mean? So you could even eat me for protein, which I wouldn't suggest. Everything I've shown you so far is an example of nucleic acid. You see, nucleic acids are just found in living things in general. Just taking a look at my backyard, you can see lots of living things like plants, even animals, such as that guy. Milo! There you go. You see, every single thing you eat was alive at one point. So, basically, you're always eating nucleic acids whenever you eat food in general.
So with photosynthesis, we get light, and with light turns into energy and then converts into chemical energy, which is food. For example, this pumpkin we can eat to make pumpkin pie, or this apple, or lemon to put on tacos or whatever. Anywho, so after it converts into chemical energy, we intake it, and then with some plants, for example, like leaves off of trees, or this tiny little flower right here, converts into carbon dioxide and then releases oxygen so we can breathe. This equation right here occurs in chloroplasts, like in chloroplasts are within the plants, leaves, anything that grows from the earth, right? And so with that, in order for that to happen, we have sunlight, and sunlight gives off energy for things to grow. So sunlight basically makes up life. Without sunlight, we wouldn't be here, or crops wouldn't grow, or crops wouldn't release oxygen for us to take in.
So after photosynthesis, now we have glucose and oxygen. Glucose and oxygen is used in the process of cellular respiration, which occurs in all living things to create energy, or ATP. So, the first part where ATP is created is in glycolysis, which takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. Glycolysis literally just means breaking down sugar. So the glucose is breaking apart, which creates ATP and other byproducts. So those byproducts are used in the citric acid cycle, which takes place in the mitochondria of the cell, the powerhouse of the cell. So in the mitochondria, what happens is that it takes the glycolysis product and oxygen, and out of that creates carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. So the ATP just gets used in our body and also gets released. The water gets released into nature so the plants can use it for photosynthesis again. Same with carbon dioxide. We just exhale it and the plants get it. So the cellular respiration process does go on and goes all the way to the electron transport chain where more ATP is created. So by the end of the whole process, we have 30 to 32 units of ATP, water, and carbon dioxide. And then it just goes through the cycle all over again, starting back at photosynthesis, comes back to cellular respiration, and just keeps happening over and over and over again. And that's how life has its energy.
Health, diet, and lifestyle. Okay, so Pepe here is saying that a healthy diet should consume certain macromolecules over others. So, for example, you see we have this chocolate espresso beans, gross, hot Cheetos, I guess pretzels, and then this bottle of soda versus an apple. You see this apple right here is not chosen when it comes down to hot Cheetos or an apple. See, people like the taste of unsaturated fats. So, honestly, this is really not good for you. See, let's look at the nutrition facts. The nutrition facts say saturated fat 1.5 grams. Right. Sodium high. Carbs 13 grams. See, with that, you could use something else. You could consume something else rather than, eat unhealthy stuff. Instead of soda, you can get water. And so, if we keep on eating stuff like this, the level of body fat will start to increase and cholesterol will turn into a risk of heart disease, said by Pepe. And, so the only example of healthy food I have, sadly, is this apple. See, this apple right here will keep a doctor away if you eat it every day, as said by my mom. Anywho, mainly there are many types of carbohydrates, at least in relating to nutrition. There are complex and simple carbohydrates. Simple carbs can be digested, and complex carbs can digest slower in the body due to them being longer. So like chocolate, for example, it's not good for you at all. The total fat is 12 grams and cholesterol is 5. Sugar is 20. That's high. It's very high. That's not good at all. So, foods containing simple carbs are sodas, cookies, candies, white bread, and white rice. Fruits do contain, they contain fiber and loads of nutrients as well. So, this is better than this, even though it doesn't taste as good as hot Cheetos, my favorite. So, chains of sugar molecules, like glucose, or just candy having a lot of sugar is no good. Ideal diet of some carbohydrates are whole wheat bread, like this is honey wheat, but it's still not whole wheat, and so it's not as good for you. So this will lead you to this if you keep on eating like this. Anywho, whole wheat pasta, oatmeal, and brown rice are good for you. Usually foods containing complex carbs, fiber is also present, which is added benefits. The last important part of a balanced diet is protein. So I don't have protein out here, but protein can be in meat, beef, or actually that's a type of meat. So meats like chicken, beef, pork. Protein itself is not harmful in any way, but what does affect you is your source of protein. It is important to eat foods with protein that do contain other macronutrients. So maintaining the ideal diet is important for keeping a good health. So be like Pepe, listen to Pepe, or else you'll end up like Pepe's brother, Peter.
Now we understand nourishment, but we gotta focus on malnourishment, in this case, obesity. You see, obesity is defined by just being overweight, and overweightedness is caused by having more nutrients than the body is using, and then it's just thrown off balance. So lots of people consider this, it's just a problem in the United States, just America. But no, the world has globalized, and the westernized culture we associate with obesity has spread across the world. There's 500 million people around the globe right now who have obesity. And by 2030, it's expected to even reach 1 billion. We're only getting worse. You see, the toll it takes on a person is that obesity is extra weight. Extra weight that the body's not made to support. It's not made to provide the nutrients for. Our heart won't be able to compensate for the weight. We'll start creating more hormones, and those hormones are not natural. It'll throw us off balance and cause diseases such as diabetes, for example. This is horrible. And let alone that, not just the effects on the person, but once the whole population is affected by a negative outcome, it takes a toll on everyone who even isn't affected by obesity. It costs $86 billion per year on just the medical costs of obesity. Plus, the people who are obese, not only does it take money to try and help them, they aren't able to be productive anymore. Their life has just become rendered unproductive. They don't make money. They don't help the economy. And in fact, it's just dragging us down. So if we prevent obesity, which is the only way we really can do about it, then we'll have so much money, so much time, so much lives, so much everything. Everything will only get better. There's nothing wrong with helping obesity. But like I mentioned, it can only be prevented. Once you gain that weight, it's extremely difficult to lose it. It is possible, but that's not going to be the way to go. What we have to do is we have to educate the people to be more conscientious with their life, to make more healthy lifestyle choices, such as eating healthy, exercising more, even sleeping and reducing stress. We have to reach the equilibrium that our body needs to be healthy. Literally, we can make so many tiny choices to help this cause. Just by choosing not to eat that bag of chips or that chocolate bar, literally just by standing up instead of sitting down, is already a healthier choice than the latter. So it's not that difficult. We just need the people to know if they're making a mistake or not and fix it. And like that, we will solve obesity. But that's going to be very difficult. But at least for the time being, we're going to be able to suppress it. That's what we need to do.
The flow is in the pocket like wallets. I got the bounce like hydraulics. I can't call it. I got the swerve like